kind of too late because they're
Definitely.
in this process of being who they've always been, and then you end up having 20-year-olds at work that you got to babysit as a manager.
Yeah, it's crazy. I was. It's funny you mentioned that, Shan, because I was talking to one of my friends as a teacher, and he was telling me as they finished this past semester,
Mm,
he was telling me about a kid that was in his class. A kid. Now, my boy, he teaches math.
mm.
This kid missed like 40 something days of school. Now, in our day, you just fail.
Yeah,
Like there's, and like he not only missed all these classes, his grade was like a 50 average. And I said, oh, so he's gonna fail, right? He's like, no, he'll pass. I
pass.
was like, what you mean? He's like, no. He's like, we can't fail him.
He's good.
I was like, how? How is it? He was like, because the parents will make us think about it. They'll run to the administration, blah, 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 blah. They'll tie this all stuff in a bunch of mess. It's like, no, you make them do a couple of assignments or whatever like that. You know what I'm saying? And now he hasn't learned anything and it's not going to help him next year, but we got to pass him. And I was like, wow. And you don't even think about it like that on that level. But, I always said, and I don't even want to get it because I know I can get into education real heavy. But I'll make this point. We can't depend on the education system currently in this country to educate our children because they are looking to eradicate everything. They will make you think that Jim Crow didn't exist, slavery didn't exist. Hell, what happened to you last week didn't exist. It was just a figment of your imagination.
And
so go ahead,
that was the point that I was making about like we the only ones that don't know we at war.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're being intentionally miseducated.
Mm-hmm.
Like they doing that shit on purpose, and I be telling people like, nigga, I'm not like this hell of a dad. Like nigga, I stay around my kids damn near out of fear. Like the reason that they stay so close to me all the time is because like nigga, I'd be damn if the world is y'all biggest example.
Nah,
Like if the world is what's teaching y'all, nigga, I'm afraid of the idea of that shit.
But you should harp on education, Kyle, because that is where the stem of most of this comes from. Bad, poorly taught parents teaching children or not teaching children, and these children learning from their environment, going to schools where they don't even know that they're being dealt with poorly or being undereducated. So when I send my beautiful black child to the white school, my child doesn't know she's being marginalized and dealt with poorly. She thinks, and if she's been doing this since she's 4, she's been going to school since 2, and by the time she's in 6th grade, if she's been going through this for 6 grades, she think that's normal for somebody to come in, let me touch your hair, and oh, you're so pretty for a black girl, and oh, you're not pretty as her because your hair is not long and blonde. And what I am is a spy. I spy on these babies. Like when we had the school events, the parents just both know I'm literally sitting here listening to what the children talking about and watching how they interact, how they play. I sit and I watch the shows my daughter watches. I see the psychological training that's being done to our children. It's not that I can stop it because she loves her shows.
Right.
That now I know how to counter it. So when I see certain issues and certain behavior arise, I know how to respond because I know where you got it from. I'm not just guessing, thinking you got it from school or guessing, thinking you picked it up by no, you were taught this inadvertently from environment. So that's why I say we push to open our own schools and to partner with people who have schools and make that part of our goal, because you can't say I'm gonna do this one thing, and when I'm done this thing, then I'm gonna do the other thing, and when I'm done the other thing, then I might have time to do the other thing. That's cool if you're writing instructions down, but right where we're at as the first generation, we have to measure our time accordingly to say I'm spending 2-3 hours on this thing because I need to know this information, and tomorrow I'm gonna spend 3-4 hours on this other thing because I need to know this information because my parents don't know it. I can't just go holler at my stepdad or my dad and like, yo, this happened and they're gonna look at me like I don't know. Right? Like nobody taught me that either. Right. I've been winging it also,
Yeah. Cause see, like I said, like one of the biggest things that, like as far as like my kids, like the biggest lesson I try to teach them is pride in who you are as a person. Because school for damn sure ain't gonna teach you to be proud to be black. Like nigga, school is gonna teach you, nigga, like that's a disadvantage. Just the fact that you black is a fucking disadvantage. Like, cause like with Mr. Brown, like I don't live in no like hella black ass neighborhood. My kids don't go to no hella black ass school.
Nope.
You know, so I tell them like, nigga, do not think that because you the minority at your school, them niggas is in no way better than you.
Mm-hmm.
They want to be like you. It shouldn't be the other way around. Like when Brownie come back
If you
speaking
don't
with her
say
little
it,
Spanish accent,
yeah.
them little niggas need to come back talking like you.
Yeah.
Right.
Like I want them trying to say nigga because of you. I don't want you coming back like, oh daddy. You the
If you don't
influence.
say it, you don't know if they know it or if they're being told it. So your
Mhm.
job as a father, and I feel like that's why that duality in parenting, having a father and a mother included, even if I don't like you, this is not about my feelings. This is my job,
Right.
Right.
right? This is my
For
obligation.
life.
Step into this situation as mad as you make me, as much as I want to cut you off and block your number, I have to keep these lines of communication open and working on them to be better because I really do love my children, right? What's up, baby? Oh, the food's ready.
She ready to eat.
I made sure I finished cooking because I that's one of my things I like to do is feed my family. So while they thinking, and it made me mad, but it didn't because we go to Papados. That's our tradition. Me and my son's birthday around the same time. We go to Papados, eat good. But it made me mad when they brought it up because Papados is a family restaurant.
Mm.
And that man who created those recipes, the original recipes or whatever, he was cooking for his family.
Mhm.
So I said, well, son, I want our tradition to be me feeding my family because I enjoy doing that.
Same.
I want your memory to be that we even to Papados every once in a while, but my dad used to cook the best food for us on these holidays, right? Because I don't have those type of memories. I don't have that type of tradition for me to lean on to know what that feels like as a young black man. But my son does now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of this is first generation figuring it out, but also first generation really trying to repair those broken lines of communication and that broken community and that broken lesson. Like, why are we waiting till we're 18 to go get it? Why can I watch these children start businesses and do well at 9 and 10 and 11 because of the community they're in supports what their parents are attempting to do with them?
Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
you're right. Sports ain't the only option. Ultimately, if we only lean in sports, we're leaving 99.9% of our children behind. If we only lean on academics as we're told they're supposed to be, we're leaving 99.9% of our children behind because you have a large group of kids that get out of school and go straight to fast food and never leave fast food.
Yeah.
They go straight to, talking to a 22-year-old black dude, like, you know what an OSHA is? You know what a TWIC is? You know how long it takes to go to heavy machinery school? Like, no. You have somebody to talk to? Well, my uncle, he got a little bread.
Mhm.
Well, you talking to your uncle with the bread. Just knowing he have bread is obsolete if you're not communicating with him on how you need to be moving to get some bread. So I talk to them. I bring it up. I be right in front of their parents too. I don't care if the parent tell me, yo, no, they for my. That's different. But I've yet to have one parent say, "Don't tell my kid that."
Mm-hmm.
Right when it comes to how they need to be moving.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I like about social media now is we have the option in the space to go outside and talk to people about what their career is, why they pick their career, how much they make per year, and do they like it? Do they hate it? Do they love it? Are they going to stick in it? You went to school for this. What did you end up doing? Because when we have career day, the random times that our kids get career day, it's those regular occupations being talked about. But the last thing that we want to do as people who figured out a way to get out of the system and create their own systems is die with the information.
Yes.
Our kids don't have to not have the information. They gonna have it. Now what they do with the information, that's something you got to build within them. But what we don't want to do is spend all this time making time to get the information that we didn't get grown up and die with the information not being given who it needed to be given to. Because when people look at Black people who are getting wise to what they need to do and figuring out a way to get out the hole, they're hoping that they don't make it enough for them to go tell the next person that look.
Mm-hmm.
And so when it comes to the education of it, the education don't stop in the school. The education is at the barbershop. The education is at the car wash. The education is at the Sunday dinners that you might not be having with your family. The education is those conversations that you might get together and watch a game. Stay an hour later and let's talk about financially how's work going. What are you
Mm-hmm.
going do? Where you at? What problem you having? Well, I got this going on. You could come work here for a few months, build that back up, and then go do the next thing. Because when it comes to other ethnicities, they come in a group. You work for my business for about what, a year, then you take the money that you made from the business, go open your own thing. Such gonna work for you, go open your own thing. And then give them about 3 years, you're gonna see multiple businesses owned by their family because of the system they made, and they offered to invest in each other to go do X, Y, and Z. We have to get out of the mindset that individually I'm gonna be the one that makes it and have my family on my back. Right. Because if we're doing all these great things, what we got to think about is the stress of it all. Because a Black person doing anything great out here is stressed. A Black person, especially a Black man, is a target. They always looking to get you on something, make up something, bash you. And in life, people are going to hate you before they love you.
Thanks.
Yeah,
I just want to touch on something you said, Shan. I mean, like, you know, part of the educational process is getting the information from our elders. I think that's very important. That is an extension, one, of our family, but also extension of history. And when you look at it, I know, Shan, you mentioned last time we talked, you know, your parents were up there in age. You know, it's important that, you know, your kids get as much information as they can from them. And I know your children are young, but as much information as they can while they're here, because they need to know what grandma and grandpa went through. Right. Because if they don't know, they won't appreciate the struggle that they went through. So then I think it makes them work a little bit harder. I tell my kids all the time, you have 4 grandparents still here. They are walking encyclopedias. I can't tell you what it was like to be in the civil rights movement. They can. They lived through it. You know, they went through busing. My mother grew up in the segregated South. My dad grew up in the North. So his experience was different. But I tell my kids all the time, like, your grandparents are here. Ask them questions. And it doesn't necessarily have to happen in Black History Month. You know, it doesn't have to happen when you're doing a report. Just ask them things. I said, because most elderly people are open books. And I think it's important that we get that information and those lessons from them while they're still here, because some of that information didn't transfer to us. And if we don't tell them, how are they going to know? And so I think that's very important as far as, you know, information that we get.
Yeah, because, like, you know, that was like one of my things when it comes to education. Like, us as parents, it's our job to be the education outside of school.
Facts.
Because you can't leave school 100% of the responsibility of, you know, teaching your children what they need to know in life. Because, like I said, my kids ain't gonna learn pride in who they are as people. Like, you know, just like the ability to hustle outside of work. You know, because, like, I tell them all the time, the reason that I do so much shit outside of work is because I'm afraid of work being my only form of income. Like, that shit is scary. Because, like I tell them, nigga, I done lost jobs. You know, like, I done had family members. Like, my auntie used to be a phone operator. Like, there's literally industries that back in the day was like good money, and that shit is gone.
Meter readers.
And ain't coming back.
Yeah, exactly.
You got people we used to have to literally wait to become meter readers. Like they take the test to become a meter reader, right? And now there's no such thing, and there's very few of them that exist. But we don't have the community structure, and we're working on building the community structure. So when society shifts and technology shifts, we're able to shift our children and education in the same direction, because a couple things never going to go away. A plumber, an electrician, a carpenter. These are fields that I could start learning at 5 years old, because they're all just arts and crafts. They're different forms of arts and crafts, right? And I can carry this and make a wealth of knowledge, a good living. Let's say it like that. But it's not until I sit down and say, let me learn the business of being a plumber, or the business of contracting, that I actually get to say, hey, I got wealth, and I have time to pass it on to my children. Because the way the system's set up now, if my child's not coming to work with me and seeing what I'm doing, they have no idea how you make money. None. They go to school, you drop them off, when you pick them up and you're done working, you might say you're a truck driver, Dolemite, but think, They don't know if you move in hazmat for real. They don't know if you had the most risk, the most dangerous event of the world happening. Because most times you're not going to tell them. I know when I was in the plant, when dangerous stuff would happen, I would not share that information with my family or my kids. But ultimately, unless you're able to find a way for them to work with you at times, they don't know what it really takes, you know? And the world is set up to take that time away from you. So that's why I talk about that duality and making sure it's a two-parent family. I used to be different. I used to be the dude tell you no marriage, never that. But then I realized if you take the romantic thought out of marriage and you just look at the obligation part, well, that's success. That's teamwork in its essence. A group of people working towards the same goal of that group being comfortable and having options. It don't matter if I'm sleeping with you or not. We came together to make a child that locked us into a contract. Now, whether you want to work with me or not might be the issue, but that don't stop me from doing my part.
Right.
It don't stop me from doing the work required to say, once you finally realize what I was doing, I still got space for you. I still got a position for you, because guess what? We don't have medical facilities. So if my son's mom's a nurse, eventually she gonna bump her head and be like, damn, I've been making these people all this money. That's what happened to me working in the plant. You go in and you think you clocking, and then you see the contract and you're like, wait,
Right.
I'll get 125 for me an hour?
Right.
Why I only get 25?
Yeah,
I tell people all the time, the only reason why jobs agree to pay you what they're paying you is because they know you're worth more and they know they're getting the better side.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, because like I told a coworker that shit one day, because he used to take pictures in his uniform with the truck and post them on social media. And I'm like, these niggas ain't doing you no fucking favor. Why the fuck are you advertising these motherfuckers? They not doing shit for you that you not earning.
Man was proud, man.
Yeah, he's proud of his job.
Every dollar you pulled out this bitch, you earned.
Right.
Every dollar you made, they made 5. Nigga, quit
Right.
advertising these motherfuckers. Nigga, make them pay you. If you posting these niggas all over your motherfucking page, you need to be sending that shit to them saying, hey, nigga, I need this much money off this shit. I'm promoting you bitch ass niggas. Because trust me, when something happen to you, nigga, they firing your black ass. They don't give a fuck about you, nigga. They ain't got no picture of you in they fucking house.
But what they do have is a life insurance policy on you.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, of course.
And the crazy part about that is every one of them was taught that system when they started their business. They didn't get skipped on that information when it came to this is what we do with our profits to make sure the next year we pay less taxes. And the next year we pay less taxes. And if we do it properly, within 5 to 10 years, we pay no taxes. And we still qualify for all of this funding. So let me take this piece of information and hoard it from the people I need going to work and paying taxes. Because if I teach you this in the 5th grade, and I think the 5th grade, I used to think it was the 4th, but I really think the 5th grade is that grade where young boys start smelling themselves, right? And they realize they can earn something. They realize that their strength can get them something. Their being able to be faster could get them something. Unless somebody's instilling it in them, it's around the 5th grade when everybody's just super competitive, right? They don't even know how to play basketball, but that's all they want to do. But you turn around and realize if at the 5th grade, I'm teaching you what to do with the reward, not just how to go get it, not just how to cut his head off because he weaker. But if I'm teaching you when you rewarded with this, put it like this so you don't keep having to fight. Every time you fight, you might win the fight, but you lost something.
Yeah.
How many fights before you lose everything? You know, that's laws of physics. The same pressure you're giving is being inserted back on to you. So when you're walking in boots in a plant or walking in boots going to your job, when you hit that concrete help you lift your leg back up. So if you go to the plant, they have grating in the floor and you're walking up. By the time you're on the 4th floor, you realize, damn, I could barely lift my legs. It's because that grating isn't giving you no support back up. And that's basically what the Black community has been going through. Walking on ground that doesn't push us back up with the same velocity. So we're sitting up here giving, and not getting anything. And it take, it take a lot to come from that position, but I really feel like it takes a good evil genius.
Preach.
Because think about Elon Musk. He tell you the story about how he slept on the factory floor. Man, you had no reason to sleep on no factory floor. You did that because you're evil. You're an obsessed evil genius. And The family, none of the kids go to regular school. The family travels with me everywhere I go because also I'm a father that's paranoid. I'm scared that something's going to happen to my family if they're not with me because I know what this world can do.
Mm-hmm.
But a good person who says, you know what? I do make time for birthdays and holidays and family events, and I do a lot of time and money and resources to be a father. He going to miss out on some opportunities because he's not sleeping on the factory floor. He got to make it home at a certain time.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? But to keep that why and to work with the same intensity as that evil genius is to move and to really collapse time on what you're getting and how you're getting it and who you're helping. Because a lot of this stuff is like they need to help Black people because they have to create a new industry right now. And I'm not talking an industry like, hemp or legalizing weed. I'm talking about they have maximized how much money they can squeeze out of everything.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing they haven't maximized is how they help Black businesses grow. So you got a whole sector of America that is being limited on how they can grow and how they can profit. And that would add to America's GDP and the tax, all that stuff if they would just give the help.
And shit, like I said, like with the fact that we at war, like a concept that I was explaining to one of my coworkers about the fact that we at war is eliminating us would hurt them. Like a whole lot of what our product is in the United States of America that we dominate is culture, entertainment, music, things like this. And all the cool shit we making, no matter how good they are at emulating it and making money off it, we the best at creating shit. So they need our creativity. Like there's some things that we provide that they can't live without. So they don't want to eliminate us. They just want to keep us like bridled, like a horse. Like as long as they can control us and keep us in the little sandbox that they got us in, they good. They want us to live as long as we can and thrive in what we consider thriving to be, as long as we not in a position of power over them. Like they'll let us get as high as they want us to get. Just like that episode that I did, Money Ain't Power. Like as long as they give you money and you don't know how to use that money has no power. Like they'll give a stupid nigga $1 billion because they know he gonna fuck that up.
They know it's coming right back.
Yeah, like please take it. Here, you can have all the money you want to, long as you don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
Because I tell them, nigga, once Nipsey got to a certain level, they said we got to do something about this nigga.
Mm-hmm.
Because they would have hated to see Nipsey with $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
They love seeing a nigga like Kanye with $1 billion. They hate to see a nigga that know what he doing with the right amount of money.
Yeah.
But you made a face when I said that, Mr. Brown.
It's because Nipsey didn't go with the program, so he had to get what comes with going against the program.
Mm-hmm.
And it's another one. Dolph, the same thing. Any one of our young artists who they find to have pure intentions either is murdered.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can't say murdered on here. I forgot. I'm sorry. I don't want to be banned. They're either deleted or diminished in a way that denies them a career. So you're talking about seeing somebody stick to their why. Now, if I'm sticking to my why, but I'm quiet about it, right? And this is my Jesus complex. Because Jesus was healing people, right? Saving lives and blessing the blind could see, healing leprosy. But the only reason we know about it because somebody told.
Right.
But if he'd have kept it to himself, he could have been still around blessing whoever he felt like blessing and not making no noise. Mm-hmm. So as long as we're quietly building privately and actually building, is very little they can do to us. It's once we go to that public place to get our revenue, once we put ourselves in that public eye and make known what our true intentions are, we become targets. See what I'm saying? So we don't have no examples of any Black groups that did well for the Black community and they did not become targets of the state or victims of their own community from what we've been shown. They want to show us the Black man shooting Martin Luther King or Malcolm X. They want to show us that type of when the truth is the ideology didn't come from that Black man. He was a tool. Even though he may not have realized it, he was a tool in something that we didn't build. Like we didn't build this system, man. We didn't. So it's very hard to.
Yeah, my thing is the best way to get away with something is to make it look like, it did it to itself.
Look like
Preach.
Like they, because like I tell people all the time, like, they know how to make you look the other way when they want to do something.
Yeah.
So,
Mhm.
it was easy to say, well, we know that, that neighborhood is notorious for doing that over there. So all we got to do is set up a situation where it looks like it happened internally. Like all we got to do is put the right amount of money or put somebody in the right position to do some stupid shit and it'll get done.
Mhm.
Like when we saw the movie Judas and the Black Messiah, they put
Mhm.
homeboy in a pinch and he had to do what he had to do.
Yep.
And that's what I was telling people about the whole situation with Nipsey. He called that dude a snitch. Homeboy probably was in a pinch and they said, you got to do what you got to do.
Mhm.
Or this is going to happen. So what you going to do?
and
Like,
that or this is gonna happen is a scenario most people have never been faced with, so they don't know how they gonna answer.
Mhm.
Or this might be
exactly.
my mama dying, or this might be my sister not getting the medical treatment she need. So as powerful and as helpful you are to your community, what's
Mhm.
important to me, because I know my life done. I know I'm shot to death. I've done it bad.
Mhm.
This might be the thing that gives me a sense of security, a sense of
Right.
I did something for them before I got out of here.
Right.
Exactly. And
A
that's
lot
what
of
I'm
that,
saying.
because you talk about dudes that go on record saying 20, 30 years they didn't kill somebody, but they sit in jail the whole time, right? And then when
Hey,
the facts come out, oh, they didn't do it. But that's 20, 30 years already gone. It don't
Yeah.
matter if they didn't
They
do it
get
now.
that back.
Right.
You don't
and the
get that
thing
time back.
is, yeah, like the acronym for snitch, shout out to Pusha T is sorry, nigga, I'm trying to come home.
Yep.
So the thing
Trying to
is,
come
like,
home.
yeah, so they put you in a position to do some bullshit when they give you no option. Like the worst position to negotiate from is a position of desperation.
Yeah.
And they love to put niggas in a desperate situation. And I tell niggas, like, just like when it comes to politics, like they use desperation against you at all times. Whenever they trying to keep niggas under control, they use desperation. That's why a lot of times when the Democrats run, they run on we ain't Trump. Because niggas is so desperate to get
Feelings.
away from Donald Trump. It's like, shit, nigga, I gotta vote for whoever the fuck they put because I don't want
Mhm.
Trump in.
Mhm.
And that's the thing with a whole lot of situations. And like I say, I teach my kids you never want to put yourself in a position of desperation. That's why, like you said, when things is going good, I'm still working hard as fuck because I never want to get put into a position of desperation. Like as black people, like that's like one of my biggest things. Like leverage is still like one of my favorite episodes. It's like episode 2 or 3 of this motherfucker.
Mhm.
Because when it comes to money or anything, when it comes to power or anything, the number one thing that you want is leverage. How you leverage your money. Like the episode that I did with Mr. Brown was literally how to leverage your life insurance policy. Like, nigga, everything in your life is about motherfucking leverage. Like, that's something that I always try to teach my kids. Like,
Mhm.
you always want to put yourself in a position where no matter where you at, you always got leverage. Keep in mind the fact that your black skin, your ability, your talent, your creativity is your leverage in
Right.
life. So you always want to be in a position where you know how to use that leverage that you have, even when it comes to money that you save, things that you've done, smart decisions that you've made. You can always leverage that shit because you never want to be put in a position of desperation where a motherfucker could literally put you away or make you do some stupid shit because you was desperate.
So
1,000.
so Martin Luther King has the same story as most of our rappers. They got caught up doing anything out there, went to jail. Somebody who we don't know went to him and made a deal to him they could not refuse. And they came out into the free world and did what they felt they needed or wanted to do to maintain their freedom or their whatever they were looking for. And so when I say it like that, I say it like that for the purpose of pointing out that he was no different from an influential musician or artist today
Mhm.
that has the power to tell you how to move and you listen to them, or to influence you through their talent and you'll listen to them. Your children will listen to them. It's no different. It's saying just as many people that wanted integration wanted segregation because they had experienced so much bad stuff from the other side. They felt like, yo, just leave me alone. Like if y'all could just leave us alone, we'd be all right. We don't want come work with you and party with you and deal with you. We just want our own business and for you to leave it alone. So it's a marketing campaign at best. But now our marketing campaign has to be one using the tools that's been given to us. So if I'm taking and connecting the From Babies to Banks podcast to a store, and the products from the store help feed into the business and structure, and the same with my other platforms and my other brands, it's for the purpose of building a micro to the macro that I work in, which is an asset management company. It's just saying that I didn't start the YouTube just because everybody was starting YouTube, just like I didn't open the store because everybody had a store. I didn't get a digital book because everybody had a digital book. I built it because when you look at these larger entities, they're all asset management companies. They all have other businesses making them money, other products that they lean on. Like Walmart is an insurance company. We want to think that they're a retail company. They have over 1,000 lines of credit, but as Shan pointed out, they got a life insurance policy on every employee. And for the longest, they did that without those employees knowing. And they turned around and got sued and called on it. And when they found guilty, they paid a penalty. And the only thing they had to change was put the language in their hiring paperwork. Put the language in the hiring paperwork that you purchase a policy for them. And it does not, you don't have, because they buy it outright. The way they're doing it, like when you buy a policy, you might have to pay it every time you get paid. And so you've never actually purchased the policy outright. They'll buy the policy. So you come in and they say, oh, $50,000 on so-and-so will cost you $23,000. They're not going to put it on month-to-month payments or yearly payments. They're going to give them $23,000. And now they own this policy outright for the rest of your life. Right. And as you move up in the value to the company, the policies are worth more. But you're just talking about a system that's being used that we're not being taught. You know what I'm saying? We got plenty of businesses that cash flow between barbershops and beauty salons. You're talking about foot traffic out the ass that's not being utilized like it's supposed to be. It's not being actually capitalized upon.
Yeah. And you know, like I said, like just the ability to capitalize on situations that you get put in. Like a lot of us aren't teaching our kids that, you know, like I said, like I knew kids, you know, when we was little, every video game after they get done playing and they selling that motherfucker. That's just how they was raised. That's just
Remember that? Remember that they beat it and sell it?
You know, because like me, like that's what I would do. Like we had this store in, you know, in the city that I lived in where you can go sell your games. Once I'm done with that motherfucker, I'm selling it. And you know, like I would tell people, I'm trying to beat this game as fast as I can because the faster I sell it, the more I make off it. So if I could beat this motherfucker in 3 days, nigga, I could sell this bitch and go get another game. You know, I could, you know, sell 2 or 3 games and get 1 game, or, you know, however I would work it. You know, so it's like you got to teach your kids like the ability to turn a dollar over, because you know
it was not $60 when we was playing. Like, no, this is crazy.
Yeah, like shit is expensive out here, you know. So like you got to teach your kids like, man, life is getting nothing but harder. Like, you know, you can't be teaching them like, oh, just get a job. Like that shit not gonna be good enough when your kids grow up, dog. You know, like, you know, a conversation that I had with 12 Cal about our platforms, like we should use our platforms to teach as much as we know to our audience, because we understand, like I'm pretty fucking sure most of my audience is black. You know, so it's like everything that I know, I'm trying to teach them. And, you know, whenever people ask me, like, what are you doing to make shit better? Bitch, that's what my podcast is. Like, you know, because a lot of niggas will sit around and complain and say, this ain't right, and this is fucked up, and this is fucked up. But it's like, nigga, what are we doing to make it better? Like, nigga, who are you helping? Like, what are you doing with the influence that you have? Like, you know, us niggas out here with 80,000 followers that's afraid to say certain shit because it might not be cool. My followers might not want to hear this. And it's like, nigga, you doing your followers a disservice. You know, like I tell them, like, nigga, I could have did a comedy podcast. I'm a whole fucking comedian.
Right.
I'm funny as fuck, nigga. But like, you know, I'd rather do something that I feel like will help people. Because it's a million niggas out here making motherfuckers laugh. Like, it's not a lot of motherfuckers out here that's like literally trying to teach niggas something that they really actually need. Like, that's why I wanted to do this episode. I hope I could do this motherfucker at least a couple times a year on some real shit.
Yeah.
I think that you got the right concept, and I need you to embrace the whole concept though. And that's the fact that we now have the ability to create our own network So if you have a show that's helping and blessing, you can also have a show that's you showing that other side of you that's more funny. You can have a show that shows you the family side, and we're able to partner and connect in ways that we have never been able to do, especially when we were coming up. We had pay phones. You had to write numbers on your hand. You had to write directions on a piece of paper.
Facts.
If you lost it, you was lost. And if you
Done.
couldn't find a pay phone, you was lost. Like, I remember hopping the bus to new neighborhoods and didn't know how to get back to the bus line. Saying, let me find the nearest canal so I can walk the canal because I know it's going to take me to the river. And I mean, ultimately, our kids will never have to think like that for real, unless something crazy happens. But if I now have the ability to do, and I know we're about to get out of here, but I won't put these two things out here. If I now have the ability to stream at will, and that can be streaming anything from videos to music that I make to poems. If I'm writing poetry, if I'm just doing instrumentals, I can stream this at will. And I also have the ability to do POS, point of sale products, where now I'm making sales funnels and I'm putting a product in front of you. I'm connecting the sales funnel to the video that you're watching or the song that you're watching. This is the shortcut to revenue for us and our children. It does not have to become our primary source of income, but ultimately that's how you leapfrog the line, saying, son, I love you. I give you all this freedom and I buy you anything you want. This is how I need you moving so that our family can have more and do better. Right. Because these things I want to show you to do with the camera and the way I'm going to show you to think, like, because I do like carpentry work too. And I'm sitting up with my son, and a lot of time he'll come in there with his hands in his pocket. I said, son, unless you're taking something out your pocket, I don't want to see your hands in your pocket. I need you to grab something to move quick. You got to take your hands out your pocket first. That time that you took to get your hands out your pocket could have been the time you could have been grabbing that thing. You could have been making the move necessary. So if I don't teach you this, because nobody taught it to me, I had to learn it my damn self when learning how to compete and win. If nobody taught it to me, I wouldn't be able to learn it. But it's like saying, if nobody tells my son that, I can't guarantee he's going to learn it. If I don't tell it to him, I can't guarantee somebody in the world is going to say, well, damn, he's missing the point. He got his hands in his pocket while he at work. Somebody might just write him off as lazy. Not knowing nobody told him to take his hands out of his pocket because he's working and his hands are what he's working with. Now, if we take and just think of our children as the next us, the evolution of our plan. I wrote it in the comments. Journaling is important. Writing down your journey, like you can talk about all the jobs you've done.
Yeah.
And all the experiences you've had at those jobs. But it means nothing if your son can go to the same job and go through something just as bad or something worse because you didn't share it with them or you didn't put it somewhere where they could attain it. So it's saying, okay, I know how you feel as a father or as a mother, but hey, make some time to write down what you're going through. That day to day, if it's once a week, if it's once a day, make some time to write it down and make it part of that intellectual property you put in your will to pass down to your children. So the banking system I teach you, you might not ever buckle down and discipline enough to use. But if you wrote the banking system down, when it passes down to your son, you left him a wealth of knowledge. Yeah. Even though you couldn't fight your own demons or get over your own health issues or whatever it was that set you back from implementing it, writing it down and leaving it in a place where they can get it is most important. It's just got to be because, hey, if I know point of sale and I know how to stream and I'm telling you streaming is only 20 years long, but damn, what's streaming going to look like 20 years from now? They're going to be streaming emotions. They're going to be streaming feelings. Like, you're going to be able to listen to a sad song and feel sad. Like, that's how deep it's getting. But I want to at least take advantage of some of that versus me just saying what we don't have, you know?
Yeah, because, like I said, like, to me, that's the most important thing in parenting is what the things that you leave your children that you didn't know. Because everybody want to give them what you didn't have. Like, oh, I wanted them to have a car. I ain't have a car at 16. Oh. Like, I want my kids to know way more than I knew at that age. Because like you said, with the value of streaming, like, like I tell people all the time, like, nigga, I want my kids to go back and listen to this motherfucker when I ain't around.
Facts.
Because like I said earlier, I don't think we was recording yet, but like I say, like, I exposed my kids to cussing. I cuss, the world cusses, no matter where you go, it's gonna be motherfucking cussing. So it's like, y'all done seen, I done recorded episodes with my kids in my lap. I don't be like, oh, Brownie sitting here, so I can't say motherfuckers or motherfuckers. Like, nigga, if Brownie turns on any streaming service, it's gonna be cussing. So it's like, I want them to say, look, this is how daddy spoke. You know, like I remember whenever Brownie would hear a person cuss, she'd be like, "Those are my daddy's words. You can't say that."
Yeah.
You know, because like she know, like that's how I talk. That's how I've talked around them, you know, since they was little babies. And I tell people, like, just because you cuss around your kids don't mean they gonna cuss, because they gonna know the difference.
Right.
Like I literally, like y'all done see, if you watch my story, I try to convince my kids to cuss. They
Facts.
know damn well they ain't supposed to say that shit. Like I'm just testing them just to see where they head at. Nigga, are you gonna say it? Nah, because you know you ain't supposed to.
Well, that's giving them the respect that they're due. Instead of treating them like they're dumb or unintelligible, you're
Right.
treating them like individuals that need to learn who to be and how to be and when to be.
Yep.
This is who you need to be. This is how you need to be, and this is when you need to be that way. If I'm not taking the time to do that, I'm failing you as a parent, only because if I put on this show like everything all good and I'm just the best, hey, baby, let's go play baby games, and you don't get to see real life happening, this shit really about to blow your brain up. Like you about to be mad at me when you get older because I didn't give you what you needed to defend yourself. Like right now, my son, I pick on him and he'll see it happening. I can see his facial expression. He has no idea why I'm picking on him. It's like, oh, that hurts. Why you? It's because, son, you don't have brothers like I had brothers. So when you go out to this world and these other little boys decide to push you and put their hands on you, I don't need you, ow, ooh. I need you to know how to respond, and it needs to happen quickly. Like I told you, you don't need to be taking your hands out your pocket when it should have already been out and in a defensive position to protect you.
Mom first.
Swinging, but I'm here because I didn't know the conversation was leading to that, because my dad never allowed me to see conflict or dealt with me in a conflicting way. So instead of knowing to put my hands up, I done got knocked out. Now I'm sorry. I probably could have took you, but I didn't know it was go time.
You was raised in a bubble and you wasn't prepared, and that's
You weren't prepared for when real life happens. And I tell you that the military kind of doesn't do that for you. It does to a degree, but the military shows you everything works. If everybody do their job, this shit works. Then you get out to civilian world, you realize don't nobody do their job.
right.
Yeah.
You go tell him something about his job, he not gonna say, "Oh, you right, let me handle my business." He gonna punch you in the face. Like when we talk, if you go tell her something about her job, she not gonna say, "Yeah, you right." She gonna go complain to HR that you sexually harassed her. And all of a sudden, you went from the dude saying, "Hey, if we move like this, we can get out here faster. You got more free time with your kids," to the dude that's trying to explain to him, "Nah, I didn't say nothing about her kids like that. I was saying that she keep getting on the phone to talk to her children, and she's not doing her job." And so you realize that this world does not work or function like it's supposed to. So if I don't teach you how to function in a dysfunctional world, I've shorted you. I left you hanging and set up.
Exactly. Like I said, you always trying to build an engine strong enough that when they throw that brick, it's gonna break the brick instead of breaking the engine.
Break the brick.
But you know, like I said, dog, like we got, you know, we had 2 hours. I ain't trying to hold y'all too long. You know, it's Mr. Brown birthday. You know, shout out to Mr. Brown. It's his birthday and shit.
Bless.
But you know, everybody go ahead and shout out your social medias. I guess we're gonna go. You know, since Shan is at the top, you know, start with Shan.
You can find me at Chanbepoddin on Twitter, TikTok, and IG. Chanbepoddin.com, where you can find the books, the podcast, and everything. I'm informing of our tips on podcasting to help creators out here, because I'm somebody where I'm always giving information. I don't got to know you from nothing.
12 Cal.
The 12 Kyle podcast. The podcast drops every Thursday, every Sunday at midnight. You can follow me on socials at 12 Kyle. Across the board, got a YouTube channel as well. Check me out.
Mr. Brown.
Hola, beautiful world. Mr. Brown holding it down. You can find me on Instagram at Mr.Brown_life agent, and on Facebook under Nathan Brown. I also have a Facebook page, Tax Free Retirement Planning 101, Tax Free Retirement 101. And From Babies to Banks is the YouTube page. Building a brand day at a time, you know.
Yeah, and you know, y'all gonna see these faces again, you know,
For sure.
as much as I possibly can, you know, because like I said, I want to make this something that is a recurring thing. Like, you know, I might not do this shit every week, or you know, this might not be like a 5-part straight through, but you know, I'm gonna be trying to have y'all, even if I only have y'all individually. Like, you know, I want to make this a regular thing, because like I say, like, finance is highly important, and it's something that's very rarely taught. Like, a lot of the shit that I know as far as finances, I've seen more shit in memes than I learned in school. I've heard, just shit talking to coworkers just in passing, like, nigga, we can borrow out of our 401k right now. You telling me I can get $20,000 right now out of some shit that I've been had?
Yep, your money.
And it's like shit. A lot of us just flat out don't know. I got coworkers in their 50s that didn't know that. Like they trying to buy a house and they trying to scramble to get this money, not knowing. Nigga, you got 160,000 in your shit right now. Nigga, you can buy a house and remodel that bitch
And
with what you have right now.
I feel like, and it's the disconnect, because the financial professional quite often isn't in the position to market in certain ways and to draw a certain crowd because of their licensing. Like my licensing restricts me from doing certain things, but no one else is restricted when it comes to saying, hey, person with $200,000 on a 401k, and you're 45, you need to be transitioning that money now into the thing that's going to make you revenue for the rest of your life. Because if you don't do it now, if you wait till you're 65, you're too old, you're too late. Now you got to pay all the penalties out of this money and don't have time to actually make back what you paid to use the money. But if you do it in your 40s, ultimately, the thing you purchase is going to create a revenue that's going to cause you to say, you know what? I started at 45. I'm retiring at 55.
And that's why y'all need to holler at Mr. Brown. But I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go ahead and shut this down. This is the Too Much Game podcast. I'll be turning the motherfucking music on. If y'all like support financially, cash at me at Uncle Dolemite. Get you some motherfucking merchandise at Too Much Game Podcast.store. Y'all niggas know all the rest of that shit. Nigga, we've been doing 2 fucking hours. If you're here, your ass know where I'm at. So I ain't here to help you get bitches. I'm here to help you get better. Too Much Game.
That's hilarious.